Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
So, Diablo Immortal recently released, and the internet is ablaze with discussion of the game's, well, microtransactions. I thought I'd try the game and let you know what I think, and in my opinion this is a sort of difficult situation to talk about because in a way the pay-to-win system is so nefarious. Let's talk some background first. So for those who aren't familiar with Diablo, I think the series could be best summed up as a dungeon crawler with a big focus on loot. A big part of the game is running through the dungeons multiple times, trying to get the RNG for whatever item you want, whatever item could make your character stronger. We actually did a playthrough of Diablo 2 on this channel, EcksToo, earlier this year, but the game is certainly not for everyone, but Diablo fans are aplenty, and Diablo Immortal is, in my mind, at its heart, actually a pretty good game. I played on mobile, by the way, the first hour or two, but the game has actually been very, very well designed, even for mobile devices, which is probably where I would play it. It doesn't feel like the systems have been too scaled back, the controls work perfectly, and I may even give the story a playthrough if I have time between all the other stuff I'm doing. In my opinion, this is part of what makes Diablo Immortal's pay-to-win system so insidious. Diablo games are grindy, that's sort of their nature, so I'm not going to complain about that, and in fact, you can actually play through and beat the story, even get to the end game as a free-to-play player. So for a lot of people, this system may actually work in their favor. You're not paying $40 to $60 for a full-priced video game. You can just play through on mobile or on PC without having to worry about it. And if you're the kind of person that only is interested in that, then the pay-to-win system works for you. Before I continue, I want to talk about a few other pay-to-win games that I personally have experience with, one of which a lot of you on the channel probably also know. First, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is another game that, in my opinion, is easy to play if you're just an ordinary player. If you want to progress in the end game, if you want to have a competitively viable team at the top tiers, you're going to need to pay, and most likely, you're going to need to pay a lot. I've seen interviews with people who've spent several $100,000 simply because they want to be the best, they want to be on the top of the leaderboards, and this is partially why games are designed this way. Accessible and free to the average person, but really honing in on those ultra high spenders, the whales and the krakens. We know that game companies target these players because it's more profitable and more stable to have a smaller group of people who are purchasing a lot. I've never been an endgame Galaxy of Heroes player, but as far as I can tell, you usually will use your crystals, i.e. the premium currency, on things like energy refreshes and character shards when new characters release. Another game that I've played that's definitely pay to win would be Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. This is a gacha style game. So basically you can earn premium currency or you can buy it, and you use that to randomly summon cards from a banner. And of course each banner will have one or two really good cards which have a low drop rate, encouraging people to spend money. Dokkan Battle, however, was never one that really got me to spend, neither did Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, because it's focused really heavily on people who are perfectionists and who are collectors. In a way, it's also very insidious because there's an element of chance to it. You could spend $300, $400, $500 and not get the new character if that's how the odds work out, compared to, say, Galaxy of Heroes, where you pretty much know if you spend money, you'll get what you want. I don't know which one is worse. I'm personally not really psychologically affected by others, but they each work on specific player bases for their own reasons. This brings us back to Diablo Immortal, and as I said, I'm nowhere near an endgame player, so I spent lots of time watching videos and reading reaction, trying to see what the money buys in the game and how that affects the experience for everyone. Diablo is a game where you'll be making incremental additions to your stats, and these can really add up, especially at a max end level character. In an article which I'll link down below, it's explained that characters are upgraded with what's known as legendary gems, and the best legendary gems cannot currently be earned by players who don't buy them with real money. Problem is, you need lots of these gems and you don't buy them straight up from the store. They're actually dropped in loot boxes. I'll include a link to a Reddit post down below and some of the other news sites, but it's estimated that this could cost between tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars for single characters. And this is so nefarious because it's preying specifically specifically on the type of people who feel the obsessive compulsion with updating their characters being the best of the best in what is ultimately a meaningless video game. I don't judge people on how they spend their money, but on my opinion, unless you have more money than you know what to do with, if you're dropping 4, 5, 6 figures on this game, you're being taken advantage of. Pretty much everyone who's describing this game is saying that it's the worst case of a pay-to-win system that they've ever seen. It feeds on whales more than any other mobile game in existence, which is pretty impressive. Here's a quote from a Forbes article I found. If you're planning to making your way to the end game and start farming for the sickest builds like a normal Diablo game, you simply can't unless you start paying absurd amounts of cash. And this system is even worse than other gacha games I've played in the past. Genshin Impact, for example, lets you earn free currency and make high-performing teams by spending little to nothing, but there is literally no system like this in place here. It is a wreck. You have been warned. Genshin Impact is mentioned by the author here because it's an extremely high-earning mobile game, but even that game, as is the case with Dokkan, gives you enough premium currency that you can still have fun, you can still make pulls. Diablo Immortal is very, very limiting. The one premium currency to pull crests is given in such a limited amount that in a single year, you'll not have enough for a guaranteed good item, and on top of that, there are other more premium versions of currency like Eternal Orbs. And again, all of this is tied behind a gacha system, so it's not like you can even take the little bit that you do get and put it towards a specific amount or choose to spend reasonably. Instead, you have to hope that RNG is in your favor, and let's be honest, it probably will not. Well, the system is probably most evident in the end game. It's really all of Diablo Immortal that is somewhat affected by this. From what I've heard, the mid game of PvE really starts to slow down quite a bit and gets even more grindy than a traditional Diablo game. Some people that will bother, others it won't. You can spend your way through that if you so choose, but it seems like PvP is going to be completely dominated by whales. I've included a video by a YouTuber named Raxenterix, which I'll link down below, and you can just see he immediately recognizes that someone on the other team is pay to win, and he never has a chance, despite being someone who knows pretty much everything about the strategy and the meta of the game. You can tell that this dude who's been dedicating his time to making the guides for this game and learning this game is just so frustrated because there's nothing he can do if he's being outspent. PvP in a game where you can pay to upgrade your gear is just not going to be fair ever, and it's probably not even going to be fun. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Again, there's probably a fun Diablo experience for fans who don't care about the end game, who don't care about PvP. You may struggle a bit more or have to grind a bit more than you have in previous Diablos, but that might be okay, and hey, it's free. That doesn't mean that it's okay though, and in fact, if anything, that makes this even more nefarious because the game is really trying to get whales, it's really trying to get krakens, people who will spend absurd amounts of money on the game to blow their wallets out. And that's immoral in my opinion, and it should be regulated. These game companies are taking advantage of gambling addictions, of addictive personalities, and it's just not right. Like, you can do a game that's free to play and has pay-to-win elements without going so overboard. Like, this game has paid cosmetics, but of course that's not enough. Like I said, some countries have adopted a law against gacha games. I think Diablo Immortal is proof that the rest of the world needs to catch up. Not only should practices like this be made illegal, but the people behind these practices, the people at Blizzard who are okay with this, should be publicly named and shamed, in my opinion. The fact that the game is fun almost makes it worse because people are going to get hooked, and it just sucks. And it sucks especially for hardcore Diablo fans who are seeing their favorite franchise turned into this incredible money-grubbing experience when that's not what Diablo should be about. Just my thoughts though, let me know what you think. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.